everything, all the parts, the unit itself. I think I was out of pocket $1,200.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. Maybe
How we looking?
turn our mics up a little bit.
I can keep talking. You just want me.
Yeah. I mean, we're good to go whenever.
So John,
Right on.
John's getting married in a year.
Yep.
53 weeks. 53 weeks, right?
24,
man.
24, man.
53 weeks.
Why you gotta put it like that? That seems so much closer.
It is close.
Yeah.
And then what? You guys still gonna make that move to Central Florida?
No, we've pretty much located in Lakeland.
Okay, that's what I mean. So you're in Lakeland now.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I guess that is Central.
Yeah.
Got you.
Someone tried to call. How are they gonna describe Lakeland? They wanted to call it sleepy, and I was like, it's
not
not
anymore.
really sleepy anymore. And you got the Detroit Tigers kicking up there next week.
Yeah, it's like the new up and coming. Like if I wanted to buy a house out there, I think I just missed the market
Yeah.
for a cheap house.
Yeah. But if you bought one today, it should be worth a lot more.
Yeah, but you're still looking at, if I had to guess, in the 200s.
6% too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me rewind you guys a little bit, man. We're here with John Snyder, one of our old-time Better Gents right here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here with Ray Roa.
Nice to be here.
He's been a Better Gent his whole life. Quite a gentleman. But you're the editor-in-chief for Creative Loafing.
That is how I earn my keep in the worworld and pay
Yes.
for my kids' food. It's correct.
Yes. Creative Loafing, if you would
Creative
explain
Loafing,
it.
Tampa Bay, is a 35-year-old publication now. I've started freelancing there in 2011 and went full-time in 16, promoted to the job I'm at in 19, but it's an alternative weekly. Back in the day, alternative has a new meaning these days,
Yeah.
but really an alternative to the mainstream publications in town. Cover a lot of marginalized voices, outside voices, traditionally the creative culture. So, veganism before it was cool, sex workers,
They're still cool.
artists, poets.
What type
like
of
yourself.
workers?
Sex work, like advocating for sex work, or kind of just like outside ideas and voices that maybe aren't accepted or even talked about in the mainstream. So we try to capture those people and bring their voices to the.
You said sets or sex?
Sex.
S-E-X.
Things like that.
Oh,
Sex
okay,
work.
got you.
Just stuff that's not getting floated in the mainstream. I think the alt weeklies always did a good job of finding people who were being ignored and kind of bringing their lives to the forefront and advocating for them. And so we try to carry on that tradition, which, has a whole new meaning now with all kinds of, there's so much media now,
Right on. Yeah, speaking of,
Yeah.
we're on
one
media
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone can create their own media now.
Yeah.
So that's what's really interesting. But to speak on that, that's what we're trying to focus on. Like, the Better Gents is a podcast that is creating better gentlemen. It's a growth-oriented podcast that focuses on character building through relationships.
Okay.
And what we're trying to do is we're trying to grab multiple perspectives from different men and women of all ages and ethnicities to create growth, because everyone sees the world different from their vessel, or they're treated differently, their vessel. So we want to hear about it.
Okay.
We want to hear, and we're not focused on the accolades, but we're focused on people. We're focused on their hearts. And, sorry, I'm all Hollywood right now, but I just wanted to represent one of the companies that has been working with us in Trendy Gindy Sunglasses down in Miami. They're a family-owned business, man. We love them. They've been sending us a bunch of sunglasses. John, you got a pair over there, eh? If you would throw them on there. Thank you, Trendy Gindy, for looking out for us. And then also, just wanted to show some love to, look at him. He's styling, bro. He's styling. But also, I wanted to show some love to Big Frog t-shirts, custom t-shirts up in Lutz. They put these shirts together for us. Very thankful for that. As well as Chad over at Minuteman Press over in off of Bush Boulevard. He created the poster for us. So we're trying to brand, and we are branding. We're not trying. We are branding, and we are building something special. Yeah, from the ground up. It's not easy, So we're trying to increase our viewers. We want our message to get out there. Also, want to thank Mark Nolan. So Mark Nolan Boots out of Chicago. They sent us a couple pairs of boots. They sent Chris these great boots. If you get a chance to check these out,
They are
you know,
awesome.
I mean, these are very
Mark, I
stylish
need to
and
upgrade,
fashionable.
Mark.
Yo,
Mark, I need to upgrade.
Mark, we need to upgrade creative loafing. Well, actually, his name is not Mark. His best friend
Tom
was named Mark, and his son's name is Nolan.
Okay.
So that's how he came up with. His name is Sebastian. He's actually a Polish designer.
Okay.
I actually got to meet him. I
This
went
is the guy
to Chicago.
you saw in Chicago.
Yeah. I went
Okay.
there, and I was like, I happened to like just, I had talked to them about being a brand ambassador, and then when I went in there, I happened to get lucky, and he was there that day. We didn't even set it up. He's like, I never worked my store. He's like, you're very fortunate that you caught me. So then we ended up talking and building a relationship. So it's pretty cool, one
Serendipity.
step at a time. And then from that, a lot of things have evolved. But yeah, back to the focus of Ray Roa and John Snyder. We were talking about creative loafing, and we're talking about marriage because Big John's about to get married.
Yeah, man. Took me, met her 3 years ago, so I'm 38 now. So it took me 35 years to finally get it right.
35 years.
Took me 35 years.
A lot
to get it
quicker than some,
That's true.
right.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm going on number 37. So, dude, you're ahead of me.
Well, yeah, like when women say you got to kiss a lot of frogs, I guess I had to do that too, right? I had to-
Oh yeah.
How many frogs did you
Dare,
get?
don't you dare refer to women as frogs.
Yeah, what the heck?
Wait, hold up.
But
I
they
thought
get
we were the frog.
But
Yeah, I think he means he's the frog.
What's going on here?
no, but they can refer to us as frogs. Equality.
Wow, that's a spicy topic. Don't get us canceled, John.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Hey, we might need to get spicy.
Hey, listen, I get spicy all the time, all right? You know me. I
I
gotta
want you
reel
to
it
get
in
more
sometimes.
spicy, bro.
Really?
Yeah, man. You just like been a little quiet the last couple episodes,
I don't want to
man.
offend anybody.
Well,
you
hold
know?
up. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean? We need you, man.
Listen, we got
We
spicy.
need you.
So what? At that time we had Gemini Fox on the show. We got
Yes.
pretty spicy.
So a poet, Gemini Fox. She's a poet in Tampa.
familiar
I don't know
with
if you're
Gemini.
familiar. Yeah, but she came on the show, and
Yeah.
they kind of got in a heated. Well, not heated.
wasn't
It was
heated.
really.
It was a pleasant debate
It was.
back and forth. We were talking about.
You had a disagreement.
We were just talking about relationships and whatnot, and I come from a traditional, standpoint of men and women having their roles in relationships. That's all, and that's where I was, and she didn't agree, and so we had a bit of a back and forth, and I felt it was a little one-sided, because I'm sitting over here as the producer and I'm doing my thing, and I'm talking my talk. And we got David over there. We got Gemini Fox and
Monica Grace.
Yeah. So it was kind of 1 versus 3 because David was very much on their side,
Yeah.
which that's fine. But so I try to keep the spiciness to a minimum because I don't want to feel outnumbered. Although it was interesting, it was fun. I think that's one of the
See?
best episodes that we did, to be honest.
There we go. But why was it the best? Because we had a conflicting opinion that was creating growth. Because not all of us think the same.
This is very true.
And it's like you can't just sit here. Not everything's lollipops and gumdrops.
Mm-hmm.
We're following God, and we love that. But people have questions.
Yeah.
People have questions. I want to hear them. I
like
want to
what-
hear your
I
questions,
like
man.
what John just said about the equality thing. Yeah, hey, we're referred to as frogs. You want equality? No, let me stop there.
There we go. I like that.
But I was thinking about this recently, right? So when we talk about equality, typically we talk about 2 forms of equality, right? We talk about equality of opportunity and equality of outcome, right? So equality of opportunity is being able to have the same opportunities to do the same things, right? To vote, to go to work, for higher education, whatever it is that you want to do in life. And I think largely we've hit that. We have equality of opportunity between men and women. There's no freedom or thing that I can enjoy as a man that a woman can't also enjoy. I think thanks to first wave feminism, equality of opportunity has been achieved, and that's great. The second form of equality is equality of outcome, and that's kind of vague. I mean, everyone having the same thing. Communism tried to achieve that. It really doesn't work, especially in a capitalist society. It's just not possible to enforce equality of outcome. So I think that's kind of, that's a fantasy. We're never going to get there, right?
I mean, I'd have to disagree with you on equality.
Here we go. Here we go.
Opportunity. I mean, just based on what you could do with your body in a doctor's office. You know, there's a lot of women that can't make choices for themselves past a certain point of their pregnancy, and I think that would be a clear inequality. I mean, we happen to not be able to get pregnant as men, but they don't have those same, equal opportunities.
Sure. So you mean from the my body, my choice standpoint? I agree with that. I think there are
I'm talking about abortion bans.
Yeah. I think there are some biological restrictions to equality of opportunity, right? So as a man, we have certain biological advantages from a strength perspective, and that affords us different opportunities than women. And like you said, men can't get pregnant, so women have their own sort of biological restrictions where equality of opportunity is not possible because we're not exactly the same. So I do agree with you there. But from a human rights standpoint, from a career standpoint, from an education standpoint, from an ownership standpoint, from a rights as a citizen in America, I think there is complete equality of opportunity between men and women. But like you said, there are biological restrictions.
Yeah, I think I would even then take that biological disadvantage of a woman not be able to make a choice about her reproductive, and that would change the equality or starting line for somebody who maybe has to pause their life and not go to school because they have to raise a kid for the first 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, or can't afford to work and go to school. So I think that creates another term of inequity based off of an inequity that the woman was forced with when just because she got pregnant, So
yeah,
I think the idea of equality is nice, and I think the to strive and get there is great, but I think we're a long way off, not just in gender and a lot of things, but a lot of little things change the starting line for a lot of people. And I think, I don't want to call it dangerous, but I think we have to recognize the inequities in the world so that we can work to make them better, or at least get to some ideal of equity. I mean, I think equity is unattainable in a lot of ways. It'll be a journey that everybody's on for a long time, well after we die. So, but creating the illusion of equity, I think I don't think we're there yet. I think we're going to disagree on that.
I see what you're saying, and I do agree with you on some of those points. From a legal standpoint, though, there's nothing stopping anyone legally from achieving or having the same opportunities as I have or as you have, right?
Unless they're a felon. Legally, they might not be able to vote.
Now, 60, 70 years ago, we could say for sure that there were, within the system, there was legal things blocking women from having the same opportunities as men. Absolutely. Those things have, for the most part, been, that's not the case, right? Those legal blocks are gone. But what you're saying, there are biological blocks, I would agree. And there's also, just some moral blocks within the fabric of our society that also prevent certain people from achieving certain things. I would agree with that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of morality issues that get in the way of the things people can and can't do, even in their personal lives.
Yeah.
Being able to explore, things that are within their mind or within their genetic makeup, or, John and I were just talking about something that we talked about in the past, general curiosities. Sometimes morality or something that is, I don't like when morality can shame somebody into thinking that they're not, worthy of something or anything. I know you guys talk a lot about God on this podcast, I think. And, to make somebody think that you're not worthy of God's love or God doesn't love you. My son's not baptized because my wife and I have a lot of issues with the Catholic Church as it is.
I understand that.
My mom's really worried that he wouldn't go to heaven if he died, because he'd go to purgatory, right? And it's hard for me to look at a kid and be somebody who believes in God, being raised Catholic and things like that, and think that this kid wouldn't go to heaven just because he wasn't baptized, and
I find that, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I find that interesting because a lot of people that have strayed away from God are from the Catholic religion. Because honestly, and just in my life, I'm speaking from my perspective.
Sure.
But we have a friend, you know, that a mutual friend that was.
I mean,
Manos.
we probably should say the name.
Manos,
on the-
but
okay.
he was, you know, he was Catholic, was raised Catholic, and
Mm-hmm.
now he doesn't want nothing to do with God, but I think one of the major problems with that is for me, what I've learned is
Mm-hmm.
God is relationship.
Mhm.
You shouldn't have to talk to somebody else or go through somebody else to have a relationship with God. You know, that's your personal relationship.
Well, I
with
think
him.
a lot of organized religions place those kind of roadblocks and
Yeah,
rules
but-
within
but-
themselves.
but that's
to access
wrong.
God.
But to me, that's wrong. You don't have to go through a pastor to access God. You don't have to go through through anybody.
Oh, you got to tell that to a
anybody.
pastor.
Well, you know, I'm with you. I'm with you. But a lot of pastors these days. Well, not. I'm gonna say a lot. I gotta stop generalizing because some of the pastors that we've had on here, they're more about relationship. They don't want you to go through them. They want you to have your own personal, intimate relationship with God. And I think that's where it's at, because, you know, as you fill yourself with the word and you keep that communication with him, then you activate that spirit inside of you. You know, and that's what I want to teach the kids. You know, I don't want the kids to have to rely on the church. Or, you know, another thing is with tithing and such, you know, in a way, I tithe every day because I give a lot. Like, I pick up things all the time for people and do things. And I'm like, man, I'm tithing in a natural way. But if I feel it upon my heart to give, like one day when I'm at the church, like, you know, but I'm not consistent with giving my tithes every time I go to church.
You don't have an automatic direct deposit.
No.
that goes out to your
No. And I think that's kind of a dangerous game, you know, from my perspective. I'm still young in my faith, but I'm like, you know, I feel like I tithe all the time. You know, I give all the time, you know, and
You could have a whole podcast on the problems with money and structure and power structures within organized
church has
religion,
turned
you know?
into a business. You know, it's being ran like a business. A lot of churches.
I think modern church as we know it is a business.
Yeah, straight
Absolutely.
up.
I mean, you
straight
can
up.
go
No,
to the
absolutely.
Vatican and see how business is going.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah, they're
But-
doing quite well.
But, you know, you can still get messages and you can still, learn from them, you know, but don't put all of your this is me speaking from my perspective. Don't put all of your faith in the pastor. Your faith should be in God. You know, you don't put your faith in the church. And if they're teaching you to put your faith in them, then they're teaching you wrong, because they should be leading you to God. You know,
right? And then, you know, I'm not trying to have too much of a conflict here, but you're talking about a bigger sense of spirituality and God as an entity, and a lot of people don't believe in God, and they find connection, you know, with
Different
with
ways.
the natural earth, and I think we're talking about this big thing, this big overall love, you know, and I think sometimes when we talk about God and when you get into scripture, you talk about that, but you know, there's a lot of people who don't believe in God and who still have a very bright and strong moral compass that guides them.
True.
Without, you know, the structure of the Bible or the church or anything like that. And I think people tap into whatever this energy is that's going on in different ways, you know, and trying to be a good person, trying to find a safe place when things aren't going very well. And I think people are lucky enough to create those structures also without, you know, quote unquote capital G, you know,
and
OD.
everybody's on their own journey. We all have to understand that as well. Like, some people haven't, you know, reached that, or maybe they did that, they tried it and they got knocked down, they weren't really feeling it, they got cheated by somebody in the church, or you know, something backed them up or whatnot, or all different factors.
And some
can
church is
happen.
just boring.
True.
You know?
But it's just like getting a it's like getting a, you know, finding the right
it's boring.
counselor or the right psychologist.
Right.
Like, sometimes you move around, and because I have this from personal experience, and that person doesn't work for you, or you grow past them and now you go to the next level, or you find something that works for you. And I think that's how it is. Like, you just can't quit. And I think that's one of the greatest things about scripture is it gives us guidance. And one of the things that he says is to never quit. You know, and it's like, no matter what, you might get knocked off that path, but those same principles apply to your everyday life. Like, whatever you're doing, don't quit. It might not be, okay, that job might not be for you, but you're still not quitting. You're leaving that to grow and do something better. learn from that, take that experience. I don't know. There's just so many different principles that have helped me. And then once you have those inside of you, you're walking with the Holy Spirit. You're really activating the God inside of you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the most interesting things about religion. If you grow up religious and you're taught that there's a large God and this entity guiding you, and you go to enough church and read enough of the Bible and do enough Bible study and things like that, and then you also participate in the works of your church, depending on the kind of church that you go to, and you meet people and you help people, and you do it in the context of your church and your religious studies. You really, all that stuff that you learn about treating people well gets to be reinforced. And if you're told over and over again, that God is in every person, and you start to look at all these people and you start to see that, you start to feel connected to that. And for those people, it really helps them, and I think those are all great moments. And we were talking about a common thread of humanity, that if we're conscious about it, then we can just look at each other and say, hey, we do connect on a really basic human level.
Would you agree that if we have good character as men, then we are better gentlemen?
I don't know. I don't know. I still don't know what a better gentleman is. I think the main word there is gentle, right? And
there we go.
I think that's the hardest thing to be in life, because there's a lot of parts of life who tell you you don't have to be gentle, right? Gentle doesn't have to mean soft, right?
Oh,
so I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know. Because I think there's different ideas of what manhood or masculinity is. And I don't know necessarily that they all make you a more gentle person, right? So there's a lot of words there that you have to break down, right?
Yeah.
But I like the word gentle.
Well, there's a time for peace and there's a time for war. So I mean, yeah, there's times to be
Isn't
gentle.
that a song?
Well, I just know. Actually, I know it's from. I think it's from Ecclesiastes. King Solomon spoke of it, but it's probably a song, because everything is really originally from that root. But it's true.
Gotcha.
And when there's peace, then we can be gentle.
Mm-hmm.
But then when there's not peace, then we have to harden, and we have to be, we have to toughen up, man, and we have to go hard, right? Would you right now, in the direction that we're going, I'm gonna ask this to you, John. Do you think we're moving in a direction toward peace? Or are we moving in a direction toward war?
Society in general?
Yeah. Well, just the world in general.
Yeah, world in general, society.
Sorry, it's getting. We're gonna lighten it up, but I don't know. This just kind of is coming out naturally. So
I think there's been a pendulum swing in all aspects of life. At some point, it was one way. The pendulum finally is swung in another direction, whether that be bad, good, or indifferent. I'm not here to say which that is. But it's just totally different than what we were used to decades, however long ago. And that's going to rub people the wrong way. And so with this pendulum shift, it can mimic the world is going to hell in a handbasket, right? But if things keep going the way they're going, eventually things will, at least I hope statistically, I think they tend to do this. But if the pendulum's way over here, eventually it'll come back to the middle a little bit, and we'll have a time of prosperity, time of peace, blah blah blah. Then something's going to happen, and it's going to swing back to one way or the other again. So I just think right now the pendulum's on the other side.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. You can catch all of our episodes on YouTube and Spotify at Better Gents Podcast, and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Better Gents Pod. Thank you and take care.